Previously on Christian Humber Reloaded. Part 4. The Search for Paradise begins. Kikanu's brother.
Three years later!
When I was hanging out with some friends, I smelled someone very familiar. When I traced the scent back to its source, I yelled, "Kikanu, I killed you 3 years ago," he said.
So you were the one who killed my brother?
I said, "Yeah, so what's your point?"
For killing my brother, I will kill your loved ones.
I said, "You wouldn't dare do that, because if you do, I'm going to hunt you down and make you pay dearly." He just laughed and cast a paralyze spell on me so I couldn't stop him from killing my friends. Before he killed them, he shapeshifted to look like me. That surprised me. After he killed my friends, he began to destroy cities looking like me. After the spell wore off, I went searching for the imposter, but when I flew over a city, everyone in it began to run and hide. I didn't notice until I got shot down. After that happened, I had about 600,000 guns pointed at me. The general said, "For destroying 10 cities, you are under arrest." I told them I didn't do that. It was an imposter. I'm innocent. They just laughed. That ticked me off. I told them, "I don't care about what you think about me. I'm going to kill the imposter and no one's going to stop me from doing so, so get out of my way!" Then I flew straight up. The world against me and the hunt begins. When I flew off, that made me a convict. That didn't bother me because I was too focused on hunting the friggin' imposter. I followed the destruction until I finally found the bastard who was giving me a real bad name. Sealed for 20 years. When I found him, I rushed at him in anger. We fought for a long time before I got hit into a cave. I flew out and continued fighting. I got hit back into the cave, and before I could strike back, a priestess shot an arrow, hitting me in the shoulder and pinning me up against a stalagmite. I said, Kikyo, before passing out. Reawakening.
20 years later.
I stayed there for at least 20 years. A girl who accidentally fell into the cave where I was sealed found me asleep. She played with my hair for a bit, then some people found her and took her to their village. I think a demon attacked and she fled into where I was, but before she returned to the cave, I woke up and said, "The scent of the one who killed me. It's drawing closer." When she came to where I was, the demon followed her and wrapped itself around her, pulling her up against me and began to squeeze. I told her, "If you don't want to die, remove the arrow from my body." She reached up and an elder of that village yelled,
Don't remove the arrow! It contains the spell that holds Vash to the stalagmite!
She reached up and grabbed the arrow and yelled,
Live again, Vash!
The arrow disintegrated and there was a flash of light and I destroyed the demon. The spell that hurts. After I killed the fucking demon, I went after her. The elder made something and threw it around my neck. I didn't care. Then the elder yelled,
Utter a word that stops him!
She said, I said, "Paralyze spell. That won't work on me." Then she said,
Sit!
After she said that, I fell on my face. I said, "What the fuck just happened? I will still kill you." The elder said,
You know what to do.
Sit, boy!
Again, I landed on my face. The truth is that every time I get a girl, she either tries to kill me or try to seal me away. I hated that phrase, but I didn't show it. When she was at school, I would sometimes follow her and watch. When I entered her room at night, I would find her asleep or working on her homework. When she was working on homework, I would help her on one of her assignments, but every time I did, she would yell,
"Sit!"
causing me to land on my face. I told her nothing about my past because it would endanger me. She didn't like my clothes because they were tattered and my shoes were worn out, so she took me out shopping. Man, she was annoying because we went into every shop in the fucking mall. I found some things I thought were cool, like a toilet with a built-in ass cleaner. Since I'm part wolf, well, put it together, I got kicked out of the store for drinking out of a toilet, and it was actually quite funny and gross. My robotic arm malfunctioned and I had to find a mechanic to repair it, and I did! The white Shikon jewel found. She forced me to go with her to a museum, which I hated, until we saw the new jewel that was in a display case. I recognized it as the jewel I lost. I muttered, "So there you are, I was looking all over for you." She asked,
"Who are you talking to?"
I told her, "That jewel you just saw, it's mine." Then I said, "You look like someone I was in love with," until hatred separated us. I asked, "What's your name?" She said,
"Kagone."
Then she said,
"Vash, I heard from the Elder you were a bounty hunter. Is that true?"
I couldn't believe it. How did she know about me? I was too shocked to speak, so I nodded. Reclaiming my lost possessions. We also found my swords, shotguns, climbing claws, and my mask, which were in the museum. I told her, I'm going to steal my possessions back from the museum, so don't worry about me. She wanted to come too, but I told her not to because it would endanger her. It took me at least an hour to relocate my items, but I had to make sure to disable the alarms. That way, I wouldn't have the police on my ass when I escape. I punched through the glass, grabbing my items. I realized I tripped a silent alarm and that it would take the police 5 minutes to get here, so after I got everything I owned back, I fled to the vehicle exhibit and found my last possession, my ghost, the same one I used to break the speed limit about 600 times. Escape. I started it up and made sure it was working, that way I could escape easily. I waited for the police to find me. When they did, I put it in full throttle and released the brake. The next thing they saw and heard was an explosion and seeing a person with long hair riding a vehicle burst through the wall. I waited for the police to get into their squad cars and turn around and come after me. When I saw them approaching me, I turned my ghost around and shot one shot just to piss them off. When one of the cops leaned out his window holding a pistol, I turned my ghost around and sped off. I managed to loose them. When I got back to Kagone's house, she screamed at me because she was watching the news and she saw my little stunt. Being revealed to the world. Well, sort of. Kagone woke me up with her scream. When I got to where she was, I asked her, sword ready, "Where's the demon?" She said,
"I don't have a science project and it's due today."
I asked, "What's your project on?"
"Wolves."
That sparked something in my mind. I'll be your project.
"Really?"
Yeah, because I bet they won't expect a real wolf to enter the classroom with you, but one thing, don't put me into a cage. Before school started, I snuck into the air vent and was waiting for her to present her project. When it was time for her project, I burst out of the vent in my wolf form. When I did that, everyone in the room probability shit themselves from fright. After her project, everyone in the room wanted to touch me, but right when someone was going to touch me, I growled a warning which made him pull his hand back. Some asshole touched me, and in response, I bit his hand off. I said telepath to the guy, "I told you not to touch me, you jackass." That scared him. I kept his hand as a trophy, but I felt sorry for him, so I found his house and jumped up onto the roof and scratched the window. Then I hid, leaving his severed hand on the roof. When he leaned out the window to pick it up, he saw me sitting there calm. He probably went insane. I don't blame him. knowing I'm not alone. I was out on the street looking for a store when I saw 4 boys and a girl running towards me. The leader smacked right into me and we both fell stunned for a second. Then he got up and continued running. I ran after them. Then I smelled something about the girl. She had the scent of a flower. I ran right beside them and saw the boys' true selves. The boys are wolves like me. I got in front of them and stopped them and said, "You're wolves. Like me." One of them said,
Get out of our way, human.
That pissed me off. I yelled, "I am not human!" Slugging him in the face, the girl walked over to me and said,
He's telling the truth. He is a wolf like you.
Then the leader said,
Cheza, you sure?
She nodded and the leader went into his wolf form. He is also white like me, but he doesn't have the mark I have on my face. Then she said,
Vash, we meet at last.
I said, Cheza. The leader was thinking,
He has a different scent from the rest of us, but it seems he might be my brother. And how does she know him?
I learned his name from reading his mind. I said, Kiba, is that your name? When I said that, he looked at me like, how did you know my name? So I told him. Tsume had his back turned to me. Toby was nervous when I think he saw my sword, and Hige was excited to meet me because I'm the most dangerous wolf in the world. When I heard about Paradice, I wanted to go as well, but I had to bring my things. The search for Paradice. I told Kagone I was going away for a long time. She said,
Sit!
I fell on my face. I told her, look, I'm not your pet or your project. Tearing the necklace off, but I did like the necklace. Before I left, she stopped me and gave me a necklace. With a symbol on it, I put it on and she said for the last time,
Sit!
I fell on my face. This time I laughed because she gave me a home. I made sure to have her keep my ghost safe in an underground garage. Then, I left on my journey to find Paradice. The capture. After we set off to find Paradice, we got ambushed. Cheza and I were taken to a laboratory for study. I was fighting back, so they tranquilized me.
3 hours later.
When I woke up, I was in a cage and Cheza was in another. I told her, we are going to Omega Sector 68903. It is a huge laboratory where it is impossible to escape from without getting killed. She looked at me in confusion, so I told her, I'm telepathic, so that's how I know where we're going. Some guys came in and one took her one way and another took me the other way. When the guy who led me into a room and he pushed me into a cage and locked it. I could sense Cheza in a room above me. I told her telepathic, I'm in the room below you, so don't worry, I will tell Kiba where we are. I focused as hard as I could to reach Kiba, but I couldn't, so I used the communication satellite to amplify my signal. I heard Kiba say,
Who are you? And where are you?
I'm at a laboratory called Omega Sector 68903. It is in the north about 400 miles. It is a bad land and it is heavily guarded, so be careful. Oh yeah, this is Vash.
Where's Cheza?
She's in the same place I'm in. Then my message got cut. The scientists probably found out I used their radio as an amplifier for my message. The escape from the hardest facility in the world.
3 days later!
The scientists were conducting research on me. When an alarm went off, I sensed Kiba, Toby, Tsume, and Hige in the facility. I told them where I was. The scientists got scared when 4 wolves broke down the door. I jumped over the scientists and went into my wolf form, and when they saw my mark and begged for mercy, I said, no, there will be no mercy for killing my friends and family. And I killed all the scientists in the room. I left a message on the wall in blood that said, Blade was here. It was in view of a security camera. I think when the guards saw that, they made a mistake. Guards used tranquilizers on me, but it had no effect. I realized I'm immune to tranquilizers from getting shot with them. Kiba found Cheza, and when I saw her, I said, this facility is going down, so get out of here as fast as you can. When I sensed they were out of the facility, I plowed to the deepest part of the compound and powered up and aimed a blast into the ground. That was probably one of the stupidest things I've done because I left no time for me to escape the blast.
When the facility blew up, I thought Vash was dead until I heard... And someone flew out of the explosion. It was Blade. He was wounded and his clothes were in rags, but he is still alive. He said to me,
I'm alright. How's Cheza?
She's okay, but you scared her. From the thought of you dying, he walked a few feet before collapsing. The aftermath. He did have a hard time walking. He said,
Kiba, I'm sorry for making you worry about me.
Hige said, No problem, at least you're okay, except for your leg. He looked down at his leg, which is bleeding and had some bones showing. He said,
I can recover from this wound because I've recovered from more severe injuries, like having most of my flesh burned off. Cheza was with Toby, still crying. I limped over to her and said, It's okay, I'm fine. When she saw me leaning on Kiba, she hugged me, and then she saw my injury and began to heal it. I let her because the way she heals someone is more soothing than being cooped up in a hospital. I thought now that I destroyed the laboratory, it would tell humanity not to capture and study me because all the labs I've been in have been destroyed, but Kiba, Cheza, Sume, Hige, and Toby were exhausted from running, so I used the transfer system that I gained from helping Zero fight against Copy X3. Zero also gave me a copy of his sword and pistol, which I like. Using my mask's radio, I told the Resistance base I was bringing some friends to get some rest. I told Kiba and Cheza to hold on to me, and I got transferred to the base. I did that twice. Next time on Christian Humber Reloaded. Will Vash Blade Vash finally settle on a name already? Will Sora finally learn the coordinates of the galactic ley line? Will Christian Humber ever stop inserting events that Vash did off-camera at an unspecified point in time just to justify him having some new bullshit power? Find out on the next episode of Christian Humber Reloaded.